Hey, what's going on, guys? Back here again with my Robinhood portfolio. I'm going to do everyone's favorite video series, which is the monthly dividend payments from companies that I own on Robinhood. So the portfolio has just crossed the $15,000 mark since our last update, and a lot of that was due to just capital appreciation, as well as me just adding more capital into the portfolio. If anyone is torn between investing and paying off debt, let me just say that after I've paid off my student loans, I've noticed that the portfolio has just grown way quicker than previously. I'm also getting super close to paying off my car loan. So once that happens, man, I'm getting super excited to see how much faster now the portfolio will grow now that I'm not paying off debt, and all that money will just be reinvested back into the Robinhood portfolio. I want to say that I really appreciate everyone who takes the time to watch these videos. The channel has really grown here in subscribers lately, almost at that 1,000 mark. Well, not really, but maybe one day. For a smaller channel like this, the best way that you can show your support and let me know that you like all the hours that I put into YouTube every week is to hit that like button for the algorithm. It really helps smaller channels like mine, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Now, before we get into the dividends that I received, I do want to address a comment that was left on one of my portfolio update videos. And I certainly don't mind when people disagree with me. And, in fact, I encourage that because, I love having a good debate and hearing other people's opinions. But this was just some plain ignorance, and I needed to discuss it. I'm not going to show the comment, but I'll address it into a couple different segments here. Each of them progressively gets worse, meaning the comment started off not too bad, and then it just ended terribly. So the first part of this comment was asking how I could own 20 to 30 different stocks, which is I actually own way more than that. And that's actually, it starts off with a fair question. If you are really comfortable with the stocks that you own and you believe in them in the long run, then you might only need to own a few to get the maximum profits. But even all these gurus like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, who say you only need to invest in a few stocks, even these guys don't really practice what they preach, because Berkshire Hathaway, it has over 46 different stocks in it among various different industries. So what I like about diversification is that it helps reduce the risk, because you never know how technology or new laws, or if a company just has a total self-destruction, you never know if any of this will happen in the future. And the stock that I'm going to talk about, United Health, UNH right here, this is a perfect example of it. The reason why the stock is lagging is because people don't know what's going to happen next November. There's a lot of uncertainty in this industry. And I don't want all my money just invested in this one particular stock or this one particular industry. Even though the fundamentals of UNH are great, it's an absolute bull. I just don't feel comfortable having all my money into just a couple of stocks. And what about companies like Enron? A company that looked great on paper, but it was really just a house of cards because there was a lot of fraud going on. Investors lost millions of dollars literally overnight because, a company wasn't exactly what they said they were. Now, granted, that's a very special case and that's unlikely to happen, but it could happen. That's why I prefer owning 40 plus stocks rather than just owning a few. Also, there's many different industries that I can profit from. I use a Microsoft computer. I text on an Apple iPhone, which is carried by AT&T. I fill up my Chevy car at a Shell gas station. I use Procter & Gamble Head & Shoulders shampoo. The point here is that there's plenty of money to be made in every industry, and that's what I care about. I don't care if I own 100 stocks or 1,000 stocks. As long as they're talking money, I'm communicating with them. People also have these portfolios that are filled with nothing but index funds and ETFs, but sometimes they don't realize that that's the equivalent of owning 500 plus stocks, and yet they never seem to bat an eye when they own so many different ETFs or index funds. The second part of the comment was, why do I invest such little capital and why do I own so few shares of companies? So as the portfolio's gotten bigger, I've had other people comment, wow, I wish my portfolio could be as big as yours. And that's the last thing I want people to be doing, is comparing themselves to me, because what you're missing is all of the context and perception here. A 15,000 portfolio for someone who is in their early 20s, okay, yeah, you're probably doing a decent job if you were able to acquire that at a young age. But if you had a $15,000 portfolio and you were in your 50s, that's probably not that impressive. It's all really arbitrary, and as long as you think you're doing what you think is the best in terms of saving and investing, that's all that really matters. Here on YouTube, we have people like Gen X Investor, whose 25th largest position is bigger than my entire portfolio. And I actually use that as inspiration, because I don't get down on myself, because he literally has a 2-generation head start on me. Again, it's all arbitrary. I'm sure Bill Gates, he probably doesn't think $1 million is a lot of money. But a few $100,000 to us, that would be more money than we could ever dream of. In terms of so little shares, that's really why I practice doing my dollar cost averaging. So I'm going to be adding more and more shares to my positions as time progresses. In fact, if you look back at my earlier videos, you can see the subtle progression of my portfolio over time. Okay, so those two weren't so bad. It's really this third part that really stood out, and it stood out for all of the wrong reasons. It goes, it takes months to understand a business, and it looks like I just checked the top 100 stocks on Robinhood and randomly started selecting companies. Wow, okay, so this is one of those comments that you read and your head actually starts to hurt based on the stupidity level of someone's logic. So let's actually take a look at the Robinhood top 100 and see how many stocks I actually own. Okay, so starting off here, I don't own Aurora Cannabis. One of the very first stocks I ever bought was Ford, and I never bought any shares of that again after that. So we'll still count it, but I barely own Ford, so we're 1 of 2 here. I don't own GE, 1 of 3. Fitbit, nope, 1 of 4. GoPro, which just got acquired by Google, 1 of 5. I do own a Microsoft. I do own Apple and Disney. Don't own Kronos Group. I have never even heard of some of these, like, what is that, Hexo. Own Facebook, Plug and Power. You see a lot of penny stocks on here. This one that everyone always seems to get for free for sharing Robinhood referral links. Amazon's on my watch list. Definitely don't like Uber. In fact, I made a video on why I don't like Lyft, or I don't really like this particular industry in general. Definitely don't own Twitter. Don't like social media there. Bank of America, NEO, which is about to go bankrupt, it seems like. I own a couple of stocks on here, but as we're going down, you can see that I don't own most of these stocks. Activision, Blizzard, Slack, what are some of these companies? I've never even heard of them before. Nike, MU, Lyft, Visa, Intel. And so you guys get the gist here. So out of the top 100 stocks, I only own a handful of them. It's almost like there's a rhyme or reason to my stock picking. If I only didn't run a channel where I literally talk about why I like certain stocks, opinions on them for the future. But no, he got me here. This whole time, I've just been picking companies completely by random. Congrats to him for finding it out finally. He exposed me for the fraud I am. As far as his comment on it takes months to research a company and that I don't have enough experience to be stock picking, yeah, no. This reminds me of when you're fresh out of college and you're ready to apply to entry-level jobs, and in the job requirements, it says it's looking for a minimum of 5 years experience already. And you're like, how am I supposed to get that experience if this is an entry-level job? And he also reminds me kind of the guy who says he's going to start going to the gym to start working out, but he actually spends more time and money buying the workout clothes rather than actually working out, and then it ends up he never actually starts going to the gym. So the best way is probably just to slowly, gradually get into investing. You don't need to be diving headfirst into it. It takes me just a couple days to be looking into a company. I make sure I'm not buying anything on an impulse buy, and I'm using all the resources Basically everything is free these days and it's available to me. If it takes you months to realize that a stock like Microsoft is a great stock, Microsoft made $40 billion last year, there's something wrong with you. Or if you're doing an analysis paralysis where you're overanalyzing a stock, that can cause you to miss out on big gains. When I'm investing, I'm only investing my own money and I'm doing it just for me. So I can be a little bit more riskier than someone like Warren Buffett, who people are entrusting their money to him to make sure that he makes the right selection. He may actually need to take months before he starts doing his investment into a different company. He has a fiduciary relationship to do what's in the best interest of his shareholders. If he started buying penny stocks, people aren't going to trust Warren Buffett with their money much longer. What I do like to do, though, is I like to look at the S&P 500 tracker, an index fund like VU, and look at all the holdings that it has and what are the companies that make up the biggest percentage of it. Because generally, the S&P 500 goes up, so I want those companies in my portfolio. So that's a big red flag for me. Hey, these are the companies that I should be focusing more on. These are the companies that I want to research more into. That way I can see the stocks that I like, and I don't need to buy the stocks that I don't like, that I don't think they're fundamentally sound or their industry is that great. PPC Ian actually follows a very similar concept. That's why you don't see him ever talk about index funds on his channel. So that would be way more accurate than saying that I just randomly buy stocks from the Robinhood top 100. And that's why I say he's a viewer and not a subscriber, because no subscriber of mine would be that ignorant enough to think that. Or would they? All right, so if you're still watching after all my rambling, let's actually get into why you clicked on this video, and that is to see the dividends I got in the month of September. So here we go. All right, so the first stock is Ford. I own 3 shares, 15 cents a share for a total of 45 cents. Then we have Intel here. I think this is going to be a great stock for the future. It probably will be adding to this position. In addition to its great dividends, it also does a lot with artificial intelligence, and I think that's going to be an industry that really takes off in this next 2020s decade. So we'll be adding to this position. Then we have Visa, ticker symbol V here. Pays a very small dividend. I actually think they just recently announced they raised it. I'll have to look more into it, but I now own 4 shares of Visa, so we'll be getting a little over $1 next time around. Then we have Pfizer here at 6 shares. Now I own closer to, I think that's either 9 or 10, and they pay 36 cents per share for $2.16. Then we have Boeing, which has been all over the news this whole entire year, and looks like they still are paying their great dividends. So regardless of everything that's been happening with this company and being on the news all the time for all the wrong reasons, Boeing has still been paying out its fantastic dividends. Own 2 shares there. Then we have Southern Company, which has been doing very well here. ExxonMobil, another oil and gas company here, 174, 87 cents a share. I also added into this position, so it will be bigger next time around. We have Otter Tails, one of the first stocks I bought, 35 cents a share. Johnson & Johnson, also been on the news, also been on a dip, so I was able to buy into this. We'll get B shares next time, so I'm already excited to see all these dividend increases. So same thing with Applied Materials that I was talking about with Intel. I imagine that they will be a big player in the artificial intelligence. They, of course, provide the raw tools to the semiconductor companies. Then we have Microsoft here, one of the best stocks in my portfolio. 6 shares at the time that I received the dividend for a total of $2.76. 3M at the time only owned 3 shares, got $4.32 in dividends. So as you guys can tell, I'm getting really excited just because I've been adding into all these positions since September, and next time around in December, I'll be getting bigger dividend payments. So you guys see CSX, Reality Income, and then we have McDonald's at 116. This is another one that I'm thinking about buying more shares. It's been down a lot. It missed on its last earnings report. So great company like McDonald's is on a little bit of a discount, but still probably a little overvalued. We have Equinix, one of the best stocks in the portfolio here. I actually now own 2 shares, so it's going to be giving me a fat dividend and fat capital appreciation. Best of both worlds there. Waste management, definitely need to buy more into this stock as well. 103. Then we have Shell at 282. Great company here. Only bad part is that it does not over time increase its dividend. It's been stagnant at 94 cents for quite some time. We have UNH that I previously mentioned. Despite all the news about this company, it still looks great on paper, and it has been rapidly increasing its dividend over time. We have Bank of America at 72 cents total. So these might seem like very small amounts, but I can tell you guys, as I've obviously been monitoring them over time, they're just gradually getting bigger and bigger. And I'm really excited for the future here. As you guys can see, Pepsi, SPHD, and then BlackRock Science Technology, and then UNP is the last one for the month of September at $1.94. So in September of 2018, which was a whole year ago, I received $18.83 in dividends. And then in September of 2019, I received $39.47. So that's really nothing compared to, a lot larger portfolio, but that's a 110% increase I got year over year for really just, at this time, most of that was because I've just been buying more shares. But eventually it will get to the point where each of these companies, when they announce a big dividend increase, that's where I'm actually going to see the biggest year over year increases eventually in the future. So that's going to take quite some time. But again, I'm in this for the long term. It's great to see that, in December, I'm going to be getting even bigger payout just because I've been adding into all of these positions. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure there's no ignorant comments in there. You're always welcome to message me on Instagram as well. And be sure to hit that like button and let me know what you guys want to see more of in the future.